Hi, I'm Ryan, and welcome to the Smarter Than Yesterday podcast. I'm going to be talking today about all things about my running goals, my races, setbacks and injuries, and my journey to what I've achieved today.
Morning, Ryan. How you doing?
I'm all good, thanks. How about you?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. Have you been up to much today or this weekend so far?
Not so much this morning. I mean, this is the main event of the morning so far.
Yeah.
So, but I've been. I was up in Chester yesterday morning. Haven't done a race up there Friday night, so came back to Hereford yesterday. In the sun. So another sunny day ahead today, hopefully.
Yeah.
So we'll reassess after this. Yeah. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What race was it yesterday?
The race was actually on Friday night. It was a race called the Mid Cheshire 5K. Massive standard race up, sort of near Chester sort of area. So
Nice.
crazy.
I'll dive into that shortly,
Yeah.
I suppose.
Yeah.
So I think anybody that doesn't know Ryan, who is Ryan? What does he do for a living? Where does he come from? That kind of thing.
Yeah. So I'm. Yep. So obviously my name's Ryan, as you said, Darren. I'm a Hereford boy. Lived here all my life, really. At the moment, I work for an air conditioning firm. So this is the weekend where it will start kicking off, big time. I've been in the trade since the age of 18, really. So it is kind of my my niche, so to speak. And obviously, running and just general sport is a massive part of my life as well. So
Cool.
yeah.
So running and sport, massive part of your life.
Yeah.
When did that kick off? Was it in school?
I think just I've always been involved in sport. Like I think go back to school days, I think I was doing like 4 or 5 sports at once, and as you get older you just sort of streamline your sports more, to focus on it more, rather than when you're at school you feel like you're maybe average at like 4 or 5 sports, but as you get older you probably want to get better at, say, or get good at just one sport. And I think when you're at school, like, you do more team based sports, naturally when you're with all the people in your class and stuff. But I think as you get older, I think you can build that knowledge and therefore do a sport more, which is more like, say, solo. Like now for me, like running, you can use what you learnt at school to do more, solo sports. I think, yeah. So I'm pretty sure I've done every sport at some point. That's for sure. Yeah.
And so besides running now, do you still dip into any of those other sports?
Yeah, I still play a bit of cricket now. Play for Berkhill. Not so much. Past few years, just sort of like gradually phased out. I suppose what I give to sort of running now is what I used to give to cricket. Just I ain't got the hours to.
It's a long day, isn't it?
To do it all really. Well, it's just the training side of it as well. Like if you want to play good standard cricket, you've got to put the training in. I just simply don't do the training anymore. It'd be a disservice to the guys I would be playing with if I'm just rocking up on a Saturday and not training really. So yeah, it's just the hours in the day, and obviously work life takes over a bit as well. So it's just there's just not enough hours, is there, in the week?
It's not.
No.
Definitely need some more hours. I do.
No.
Always been competitive in the sport that you try and compete in, whether that's team sport, whether that's solo. Do you always find that you're, trying to be as competitive as you can?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say so. I just don't see the point in being in a match or a race with at least being a bit competitive. It's like I'm not going to enter a race, or if I'm not going to want to win. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying wouldn't say I'm like a win at all costs sort of person. I'm kind of respectful in that sense, but like wanting to be competitive brings more out of you.
Yeah,
I would say.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're not competitive, I just don't think you can get to that next level in trying to push yourself harder.
It's good. It
in whatever
gives you an
it
edge.
is. Yeah, just like an edge. Yeah, I'd just say so. So I'd say as long as I can remember, I've always been competitive. Yeah, like it's a great, isn't it? It's a great feeling if you are, say, running against someone and you're both really competitive. It's it's like who's prepared to kind of outwork each other, I suppose. So, yeah.
And that comes down not just to the day, but the training leading up to the day, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you've got to. Yeah, you've got to. Yeah, you almost got to be competitive in training as well to then give you that push on a race day. So, yeah, I'm not sure when the competitive edge will leave me, but certainly, certainly not at the moment for sure. Yeah,
cool. Why did you kind of jump onto the running side of things? Why not cycling, swimming, high rocks, whatever? Why running?
Good question, actually. I would say I first got into running. I always remember, this is going back. So I've always done a little bit of running. You know, when I was like back at school, always did a couple of runs a week, probably just randomly around Tupsley, Alex, around that sort of area. Always just would randomly go out for like 20 minutes or so. Back then, didn't have watches. You know, I just go out, see what time I got back, and that would be, you know, just go out on effort. Really, I was probably just going flat out all the time.
Yeah,
all the time then. But I'm going off piece there. Sorry, what did you ask? Sorry.
No, why
pick running? Yeah,
why pick running? Yeah. So why I got into it more, I do remember. So my granddad 10 years ago passed away through cancer, and he went through the hospice, St Michael's Hospice, and it was almost a bit of a penny drop moment. I was like, right, I'll just do the Hereford half marathon because it's obviously through the hospice at the time. So I was like, right, let's try and raise the money through that. And I just had this random moment. I was like, right, this, you know, for this period, I'm going to try and do a half marathon race every month for 6 months, just like different ones. You know, it just gave me a bit of a goal, I suppose. You know, I know because I was just naturally doing more running. I just got more into it. So, and then, yeah, like, I suppose you could say I got the bug for it, I guess. And a year later, I joined the Couriers at the time. So, which then led into, you know, many other opportunities and races. So, but I would say that probably was the initial starting point of getting into it.
So it went from a bit of a incentive based on obviously the fundraising to a small goal, which was, I guess at the time, a pretty big goal, 6 halves in 6 months. Obviously, it's quite decent.
Yeah.
And then with obviously the running club, and then, you know, a bit of self coaching, the structure would have started to kick in then. Mm-hmm. How did that look at the beginning, and how does that compare to today?
God, I'd love to see what my training was like 8-9 years ago compared to what it is now. Well, certainly, first of all, my volume of training was far less. I was doing a lot more weight training back then than just more mileage. But I think if I went straight into the mileage, and then what I do now, I'd be broken straight away. Really, I mean, there were times where I do remember I did try and up my mileage, and I would be injured. And I think just like the more running you do, you know what your body can handle and what it can't. So you just naturally progress from there, I suppose. Yeah, you dip your toe into different sorts of training. Yeah. And it's your body. The more you train, you know, the more, well, depending on the discipline you do, the more kind of, you know, robust it gets, doesn't it? So it gets used to it. So I'd say, yeah, but I probably didn't know more than like 10 miles a week probably back then. Like, yeah, probably.
That would have felt a mountain, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, like it's like in my own. Yeah, it was probably something like 2 20-minute runs and maybe a 40-minute run. You know, big 40-minute run or something.
It's all relevant, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, to that perspective.
Yeah, so it was probably like that, and just, you know, gradually do more. So I met more people through when I joined the Couriers. You know, there was more social runs and club runs, and, you know, a Sunday long run or something, and just naturally started doing more mileage, really, you know, as you sort of progress through to do sort of mileage I'll be doing today. Yeah.
Cool.
So,
you said that you find that you got the bug for it and it hooked you, but what hooked you? Was it the competitiveness? Was it actually you went, I'm actually quite good at this and got some potential here? So what hooked you?
Yeah, I guess bit of both there, really. Like I thought I was half decent, I suppose, on a like locally around here. But yeah, after having done a couple of races like city half marathons, just like the buzz of, like I remember doing like say that year where I first started doing. I remember doing like Bristol half marathon, like that course pretty much is through the city centre. It's obviously loads of people watching and just that buzz really. Do you know what I mean? It's that kind of dopamine hit doesn't really get old, to be honest. It's just, obviously some races have more support than others, but yeah, it's just that accomplishment of doing it. And like it's doing good. I know racing can hurt at the time, but it's how you feel after it, really.
Yeah.
So
you touched on there, then obviously feeling that you were, fairly decent locally, and I think we'd have both experienced this from, say, the rugby or the cricket from school.
Yeah.
When you went more nationally, and even athletics at school.
Yeah.
You'd win all the races here in Hereford, and then you'd go to the athletics track nationally, and it'd be like, Jesus Christ, these guys are next level.
Yeah.
Some of them were, a couple of inches, if not feet, bigger than us. And how did that sort of mirror into the running world?
It doesn't really faze me that much, to be fair. Like, it's like I'm fully aware. Like, I've done running races where like I said, I can compete quite well locally, but then you go out of the HR postcode and you're, I remember like a couple of years ago I did like Liverpool cross country, right? And Liverpool cross country is renowned as being like, it's like a European trial race.
Yeah.
So like every good runner in like UK turns up, and you're like on the start line thinking, oh Christ, like everyone's quite good here. Am I going to be like towards the back or something?
Yeah.
And like it's just like humbling, but you need that push. You need to expose yourself to higher level runners to get to the next level. If you just stay within your own bubble within like Herefordshire, then I don't think well, for me, I only think there's only so far you could probably progress. I think if you just stay within your bubble and race against people who like I know I can turn up to races around here and I can look at the start line. I can usually have a good idea how I'll probably get on. Because Hereford's a small place. There's only a certain amount of people that do running competitively. So, but when you get out of Herefordshire, like there's with places with bigger pool of like talent and running clubs, you realise like hang on, it's good standard, it's good level, but like it all the same, all good.
Brilliant. What does a normal week look like for you? And that's including kind of your work time and your training time. So how do you fit that around?
Well, I've never really been someone when work takes up most of the day. I've always been someone that will, certainly during the week, Monday to Friday, I will always train in the evening. It's weird because I like training in the morning on a weekend, but just not before work. Almost like, but always train in the evening. I always use it as my kind of declutter, if you like, after work. Day of work, you're quite tired. Though I appreciate it can probably affect your training sometimes, where you go into training a bit mentally fatigued, maybe.
Yeah.
But I just prefer it because it just gives you that. If you go out for an hour, you mentally deload, and then you've almost like forgotten about. If you've had a bad day at work, you can almost like forget about it. Not forget about it, but temporarily forget about it.
Are there any days then when you've had a demanding day you go, balls to that, I'm not training today? Or do you always kind of have that discipline to go, I'm training?
Absolutely. I would say there's way more, I wouldn't say bad days, but hard days to get out the door than there is to be like, just put your trainers on and off you go. It's, I think a lot of training is hard, like to do it consistently. And to like keep discipline, like race. There's the old saying like you train hard, race easy. I do believe in that. Like training is hard anyone can train well for like a week, in my opinion, or a couple of days. But to do it like consistently over a long period of time, I think is hard. And like the more people like that you expose yourself to, like the more you kind of respect the game, if you like. So yeah, it's definitely not easy. But yeah, I think if you always have a goal in mind, it just keeps, it just makes you accountable for it. So like, if you set yourself a big goal, then you've got to do the training. You can't just blag it, or
no.
You can't just rock up on the day. Like you've got to do it. So that's why it's always important for people to have a goal in mind. Otherwise, I think that's when people do easily lose their discipline, or like, just meander into nothingness.
Sort of training for no purpose.
Purpose. Goal. Yeah, you've got to have something, definitely. Whatever it is you're training for, it can be being able to do a park run for the first time, or it could be like doing a marathon, or trying to cycle 100 miles or something. You've got to have something in mind, regardless of your level.
Sort of get the date booked in, and then you've got that to aim for.
Yeah, 100%.
And is that something that you've always got? Say you've got your whatever your next coming race is there always the one after it, or do you allow yourself an opportunity to stop? I know obviously with your competitive, let's say faster running, there's schedules throughout the years which will come.
Mm-hmm.
But for you, in terms of the races that you plan that you're going to do you always have sort of 2 in advance, or do you do it over a 12-month period? Sorry,
I would always definitely have a couple of big goal races in a year. Usually one like in the spring and one in like the autumn, sort of like over like the winter months, sort of like cross country, that kind of looks after itself, the more team based sort of races. But yeah, the big goals always would have one in the spring and one in the autumn. Like this year it's like the year of the marathon this year. London a couple of weeks, 3-4 weeks ago, Berlin in September. So those are my 2 goals, big A goal races for this year. So but yeah, if you've always got that in mind, it just structures your year so much easier than if I didn't have anything in place for the autumn now, I'd still be training, but like again, like you said, Alex, there's just not too much purpose.
No,
really. Do you know what I mean? Just be training and doing whatever I feel like doing, which is fine now and again. I don't believe in training to structure all the time. You've got to do what you actually enjoy doing. It's so important to have something in the diary.
Absolutely.
At all times.
I guess if you didn't, your training could go back to what you referenced at school of having, you could do a bit of gym work, you could do a bit of cycling, a bit of swimming, a bit of running, and you're not arrowed at one thing. Whereas when it's a running event, and I never forget something which you said to me when I saw you at home the one day, and it was about the cross training, and you were like, "There's nothing better than miles on the feet." If you're training for a running goal, yes, you need to cross train to allow less load on the joints and things, and to build strength. But if your goal is running, you need to be running. If your goal is cycling, you need to be in the saddle. If your goal is swimming, you need to be in the pool. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Cross training 100% builds aerobic foundations, definitely, and you can do that to almost compensate for not doing as many miles. But end of the day, like if you want to be a good runner, you've got to run more. Like I said, bike more. It's quite simple, really. It's the more you do it, the better you get, don't you? It's 100% like that. Cross trainer is definitely good for the ones at home are good. They're good for cross training, definitely. They're like probably the most realistic ones, I'd say, in terms of running mechanics. Definitely, there's some that are just terrible, aren't they? But those ones are quite good, I would say. So, but no plans to use it at the moment.
So you're a bit of a jack of all trades in distance wise. So you like the short, hard, fast stuff, but also you like the fast, long stuff. Try and get that in. So just talk us through those kind of distances then. So you've got obviously the 5Ks, and then you've obviously leading up to the marathons. Where are we at? What times are we talking first and foremost? Go on, hit us.
Are you looking for PBs here?
Yeah, I reckon so.
Okay. Well, we'll start at the fast, what you call fast long stuff. So marathon PB is currently 2:44. That was actually done at Newport Marathon last year. If we go down again, so yeah, half marathon, I've done 1:16. 10k, I've done 33:50, and a 5k, I've done 16:19.
Right, fair play.
Wow.
So
that's why I referenced the jack of all trades.
Yeah, I'd say
you know,
to be fair, like that's like I would say that's like a good. There are people who I run with who are like, say, you know, I know plenty of people who are really like, say, good 5k runners, but haven't maybe justified what they can do over a 5k over like, say, a half or a marathon. So whereas when I look at my kind of PBs, they are probably they're fairly in line. So I'd like to think I've got quite good range.
Yeah.
5k probably, based on what I've done other distance in, my 5k maybe should be a touch quicker if I'm being like super critical. But like I just don't. Sometimes I struggle to get myself up for a 5k. Like you've got to. I don't really like doing the training for it because though it's like kind of like the shorter training, you know, it's done quicker. Like it hurts more. It's just like I just prefer just to go out for like zone two kind of steady running. I don't always do the work to optimize a fast 5k.
Yeah.
But yeah, I probably take more. Because when I go back to we were talking earlier, when I first got into running, I did half marathons. I always regard like the half marathon as like my sort of baby, if you like.
Yeah.
And like the marathon, I suppose it's just like I always see that as like kind of not pinnacle, but like that's my distance. You know, everyone's got their own distance that they prefer. I'd always say the half is kind of my distance, and it's the distance that probably suits my running style the most. I would say like that kind of nice tempo sort of running just seems to suit my body quite well. Whereas 5k, it's just like you're going into gear 5 from the gun, really, aren't you? So it's I mean, you do learn how to tolerate that pain, but it's certainly not easy at all.
Incredible times there, though.
Yeah, definitely. I think your comment about them being aligned in the sense of the paces for them.
Yeah.
You know, it's for someone to go out and do that in a 5k is one thing, but to be able to repeat that for 26.2 miles, you know, on a marathon, it's the next level, isn't it? To be able to continue it, you know, when even just me looking at my Stroud half last year, for an hour 30, I was at like a 188, 190 heart rate for the full duration of it. That's a lot for the body, let alone if you're doing that to a marathon state. Do you know what's your average in a marathon heart rate?
I just so when I have ran 3 marathons I've done, or to be fair, when I am doing like long mileage, I would try and run into heart rate or run into feel is a big way in how I pace races, and just try and keep it just under 170 really. That sort of anything over 170 though I'll probably still feel okay, I just know I will pay for that later in the race. And marathon racing is, you know, it's you see it in every big marathon race. Every time there's always going to be people that go out far too hot, thinking like, it happens every race. It happens every race. Like at the elite level, at amateur level, it happens. Not everyone, but like, you know, most people will go off optimistically, adrenaline of the day. You know, you're fully carb load, you're fully rested. It's completely understandable why people go off.
It's the atmosphere. It's the
atmosphere.
pride.
It's.
Have you got a day where you did that?
Gone off too hard.
Yeah, on a marathon or half. Then.
Well, I would say my worst marathon was probably my first marathon. I definitely was really way too naive to it. I'd done like, I think my half PB at the time was like 125, 126, and I'd done like a reasonable amount of training for it. It was Brighton Marathon I did, but I was still really inexperienced. I was only been running like 18 months, couple of years or something, and I thought, how hard can it be? And like just cramped so badly in like the last like 4 miles, and like I at one point when you are still like 4 miles from a finish, you do have doubts whether you're even going to finish. To be honest, it's
a long way then. Isn't
it's
it?
a long way.
Whereas you say go out for a 4 mile run now, you're like, what would you mean?
Yeah, it's like when you've already got 21 miles in the legs. It's a long way to home. And then when I did marathon a couple of years after, I was a lot fitter, and I was just like, right, no, but I'm going to go out a lot safer. And I actually ran like a negative split. So ran a quicker second half of the race because I was just like, I'm not limping in again.
No,
you learn so much. You probably learn as much in a road marathon than you probably would in like 5K races. I would say you do like the emotions you go through in a marathon is quite a lot really.
Yeah.
Depending on your mindset on the day, obviously. But yeah, you do go up and down, that's for sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
So injuries and setbacks then. Any injuries that we want to talk about here? Have you been injured leading up to any races?
Yeah, well, so my most sort of recent injury is the one like Alex would have sort of known about. Back in September last year. So was that now like 8 months ago? No. Yeah, 8 months. But yeah, 8 months ago. I'd just done the Great North Run, and literally like a couple of days after that, so I was just getting myself back jogging again, and I was genuinely plodding as well. I was going really slowly, and I just hopped from like the path to the road and went over on my ankle. I heard a crack through my headphones. And I was like, oh, that don't feel good. I think we've all like twisted our ankle before, haven't we? It's like I kind of just run it off, I'll be right in a minute.
Did you keep running?
I did, yeah, for like Hampton Park Road, just like 5 minutes. I was like, this don't feel good. And
were you on your own?
Yeah, I didn't have a phone on me or anything like that. Like I just had it connected on my watch. Just like started to like limp home, and it just got, as I cooled down, it just got worse and worse. I was just like hopping home by the end, and my dad was like, "Come on, we're going down A&E," and me being like kind of a bit stubborn was just like, "No, let's see how it is in the morning. Just have some painkillers now, see how it is." And like in the morning I could barely get out. I could get out of bed, but like I couldn't like put any weight on it at all, and like just went to the hospital, and the chap said there's like, I don't know, I can assure you've broken your metatarsal there. I was like, all right, great. So but obviously in my head straight away you just think, how long is that going to be? And like obviously had the x-ray, and like I didn't run for so I was putting in one of those Beckham boots at the time.
And this was the lead up to a marathon training block?
It was, It was. I was going to be doing Valencia Marathon, which is like a couple of weeks before Christmas. So obviously I had to bin that off pretty much straight away. So I was in a Beckham boot and crutches, and I didn't run for, I think it was like 11 weeks. I didn't run for, 10 and a half, 11 weeks. But it was initially, the doctor said he thought it'd probably be more than that, but I was just like, yeah, if you tell me 16 weeks, I'll just have like 12 in my head.
We all do that, don't we?
It is like, so it wasn't a great time. If it took me a week to kind of process it really, because when something like that happens, it's taken away from you like in an instant. Yeah, which kind of then makes you realise that you should always be grateful in what you're doing. Yeah. So in a boot for however long it was able to get on the spin bike at the gym. To be fair, within 4 or 5 weeks. In all fairness, it was a fairly quick turnaround, but it was very, very like gentle. If anything, it was just spinning the legs. No like level 1 resistance. Like it was like there was no watts being produced. It was like but yeah, a very slow process. But you just slowly get to know what your body can and cannot do, and like that's what Alex said to you earlier about cross training and stuff. Keeping yourself fit. And then when I did get back into jogging before Christmas, the first few runs were really tough. Like muscle memory starts coming back, and like you start building fitness fairly quickly actually, because you've kept yourself fit in the gym.
Yeah.
I just think there's a lot of people, I think, that if they do predominantly running, they'll get injured and won't do any form of cross training, and then they really do start at zero when they get back into it. Whereas, because I'd done quite a lot of cross training, I felt unfit from a running point of view, I felt fairly aerobically fit from doing other stuff. So, but yeah, it wasn't great. I don't envy injuries on anybody.
No, I can relate to that. I mean, I had a foot operation in September, about the same time you've done yours, I think, and I was in a boot for 3 months, and I couldn't load bed for 3 months, and I couldn't do any sort of cross training. It was hell.
You were so bound,
and you look at your training peaks, I'm like, that graph's just going, oh my god, where's it going? It's gone. I'm like flat lining now. Like,
you can't go any lower.
But you're right,
now.
it bounced back really, really quickly.
Yeah.
And in all fairness, I think I'm fitter now than I was before the operation. So it does have that effect as well. But mentally, it's difficult.
Yeah, mentally it was like tough. Obviously, like I have a day at work, and I wasn't able to have that kind of exercise sort of that I would normally do.
Yeah.
And like the days felt longer, and if anything, because it was done because I did it in September. Obviously, coming into winter, then
tough.
It was like days are getting shorter, it's getting colder, and it's like, oh Christ, it's just like everything just feels like it's getting like worse. But yeah, you just gotta be really patient with it, and like everyone has injuries at some point. You just got to learn how to adapt to it, really.
Yeah, spot on.
I would say. But yeah, I would agree. I'd probably say I'm a better, like you, Darren. I would say at this moment in time, I'd actually probably say I'm a bit more of a rounded athlete than I probably was prior to getting injured. It made me focus on stuff that I wouldn't focus on before.
And that's quite heavily leaning into the lessons you talked about there, your first marathon and going out full gun ho, compared to how you prepare for a marathon today. And I think experience is a big factor to succeeding, as well as the discipline, compounding on top of it. And we do learn, whether it be cross training, whether it be how to turn up to a race, whether I should have had that extra dough ball the night before, or whatever it might be. Do you know what I mean? Like it's all about experience, and then going to that's what this podcast is, Smarter Than Yesterday. It's about learning today and taking that into tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, couldn't agree more. Really. Yeah.
So which race do you enjoy the most? As in what distance?
You said half marathon earlier. Is there a specific like event?
Well, I would say the best race I've done is London Marathon. I gave us, so when I did that 3 weeks ago, it's very easy to say when you first finish that race, oh my God, that was the best thing ever, but I was just like, right, I'm going to reserve my judgment until I've like kind of let it process a little bit. And like, even like a couple of weeks later, I was like, yeah, like if anyone gets the chance to do it, I would, don't say no, basically, regardless of the like level of runner you are. It's just, it's just the whole, obviously there's a massive build up to London, it's a marathon because you've got to do the train, you have to do the training, otherwise you're going to look like an idiot in the last 10 mile of that race, 10k of that race. But like, it's just the sheer amount of crowds. Like I've done races where the crowds are, are good, but like London, you literally set it off and like it's crowds for the duration.
I mean, you mentioned Newport as well. I've done Newport twice, and it's quite a boring course. Isn't it? It is
definitely.
It is.
Yeah,
boring.
it is. Yeah. But it's like London. It's just crazy. Like I'm running down like over like places like Tower Bridge. It almost doesn't feel real at times. Because we've all watched it on telly over the years, and it's just like, oh yeah, it's Tower Bridge. We all know it's a big landmark in London, and then when you're doing it yourself, you come around the corner and you see it, and you're just like, oh, this is actually me doing it, and you do feel quite privileged in that kind of in that moment. And then coming like the last few miles of the race, we're running down the embankment towards Big Ben, so you've a couple of miles to go. You can push for 10-15 minutes or so to really get that last bit out your body, but you feel so empowered. Do you know what I mean? You almost you feel like in some fantasy world. Do you know what I mean? Like all the training for like London is 100% worth it for those moments. I guarantee. Yeah, absolutely. I've got a memory that will last with me for a very long time. It's and like got the medal, got the photos and whatnot. It's that will live with me for for a long time. So I'd say that's the best race I've done. But it's like for the best race distance to race, I'd probably say a 10K is the best race distance to race, purely because you've got to train speed to be competitive in it, but you've also got to have that endurance as well. Like, people will try and do a 10K with like a little bit of speed work, but then will get exposed at like 6-7K into a race. So you've got to have that endurance base. It's just a good mix of who's got the speed, who's got the endurance, and like it's usually somewhere between the two is where you've got to be. So yeah, I'd say 10K is probably the most enjoyable as a race against other people. Itself. But ironically, I've not really done much 10Ks in the past year, but I'll get that sorted. Soon.
What's been your toughest race? If you can pick one that's gone, wow, that was a tough race.
Really tough race. I would say one of the hardest races I've done is, I've done it a few times. It's actually a couple of weeks' time, actually. It's the man versus horse.
I thought you might say that.
Yeah.
Talk us through that event.
It's basically, it's a very unique race. You've just basically got the, 500 humans versus, I think it's like 100 horses, and like the main race sets off like 20 minutes before the horses do. And yeah, it's a mixture of like road, fire track, trail, hills, unrunnable hills, like technical descents. And yeah, the course has like a silly amount of elevation, and it's usually the route is always like around the same kind of area, but they never reveal the route, and it's always around between 20 and 24 miles. So it's like you're going into a bit of the unknown, but because it's always in the middle of the summer, like it's usually hot. Like the first year I did it, it was probably similar weather to what it is today, like 25, 26 degrees. It's just you are cooking, and and then where it is, it's really exposed. There's no real shade. It's hard, really hard. But it's because you do some mile, because some of the hills are so steep in it. You're doing some miles really slow, like you're doing like an 11-minute, 12-minute mile. Like, you're not really making much progress, but yet you feel your body's still moving. You're fat burning, so you get a bit hungry. Rather than if you're just running faster, you're just burning carbs. You don't really get hungry as such. Your water goes down very quickly when it's that hot. Yeah, it just and because it's like technical and whatnot, you're using so many different muscles in your legs and your back and stuff that you never even realise you used. And it's one of the few races I can remember where after finishing it, I've gone over the finish line and haven't been able to get off the floor after, purely because I'm just absolutely dead after. And
do you run alongside the horses?
Yeah, so the horses do like overtake you, and like you got the riders on the horses are like shouting at you to move. It is a bit kind of intimidating, I suppose, when you got like big horses like flying past you, but you soon get used to it. But it's just,
it was a bit surreal as well, isn't it? Like, a bit.
It's
a bit odd.
It's like the race is like a game of cat and mouse, because like we can kind of just steadily go around the whole course without really stopping, whereas the horses, I think on that course there's like 2 like vet stops where the horses have to stop for like 20 minutes of time to make sure they cool down. Obviously they've had water and food and whatnot.
That's very good though.
So it's just like the horse might get ahead of you, but then I might then re-overtake the horse, but then he'll come back at me. It's that.
So what's the challenge there? Is to finish before the horse then?
It's a race. So it's effectively like for years man didn't beat the horse for years, and then the race organisers basically build up a prize pot every year. It's like a snowball. Whoever beats all the horses will win the pot.
Yeah.
And I think a couple of years ago, the guy did actually beat them, mainly because it was boiling hot. So obviously, the hotter the conditions, the worse that favours the horses. So, so I think the race actually started. It was just two guys like in a random like pub somewhere, and they just
Sounds about right, though.
That's a drunken conversation, isn't it?
It was like it was.
I got an horse. And I'll beat you.
Apparently, it was like over this terrain, like who would like win, and like obviously someone thought, oh no, it'd be the horse, and then someone was like, oh no, definitely a good.
We have
runner
these silly
would-
conversations.
Apparently, it did start in a pub just randomly on a Friday night. Friday night. Pint
David was talking about a RAF race, and we were like, "Oh, I wonder if we could beat the boats running."
So a bit like that, but I would say that's the most I'd say tested. I'd say just purely because like the heat as well. Like it's, but
Different
again,
dimension.
that's one of those races where you feel like I certainly enjoyed my Chinese that night.
Cool.
Yeah.
So the podcast is called Smarter Than Yesterday.
Yep.
So we like to think that can be used in any walk of life, not just endurance sport. So what does that wording mean to you? As in, you try to be smarter than yesterday, so you learn a lesson from yesterday and put that into today.
That's what that means. Yeah, like I completely agree with the the concept of that phrase. Yeah, I think you should always take something from every day you live. Do you know what I mean? It's there's always something you can improve on, regardless whatever it is you're doing. Yeah, for sure. Like if I put it into a context, what I'll try and do today is like legs are feeling a bit achy from race on Friday. So for like myself, I'm not going to do anything too strenuous today. Just like easy jog, easy cycle, maybe. Just like keep the blood moving in your legs. Like I feel I always recover better if I do something than nothing at all.
Yeah.
I mean, you do well to keep me inside all day on a day like today anyway. But it's I'd say something is better than nothing for sure. And if you build that up, then you effectively. It's like years gone by, I might still try and work out at quite a high intensity, maybe. But like, nah, not anymore. Didn't do that now. In the early 20s, but not now.
Absolutely.
No.
A quick question, Ryan. What's your favourite racing shoe?
My best racing shoe, I would actually probably say it's either my current ones or the original Nike Vaporfly ones. They were released like about 5 years ago now. Or the ones I've currently got are the Adidas Pro 4s. They just seem to fit my feet like a sock. So they're good.
Yeah, and do you feel like they do give you that extra edge?
I think it's almost like the super shoes are an interesting topic. It's almost, I mean, they are fast shoes. I mean, they're light and they're snappy. You feel like you can run quicker in them for sure, but I think some of it's a bit of a placebo effect, to be honest.
I was going to say, do you feel like it is?
Yeah, it is. They definitely make, if you're running a race pace, they definitely make your form better for sure. But like at one point, my like 5K PB was done in racing flats. Do you know what I mean? With no carbon plating them at all. You look at runners in the 80s and 90s with people running in flats all the time, weren't they? Do you know what I mean? Whereas now it's all these carbon shoes and stuff. But yeah, I'd say, they definitely, I would say the carbon shoes 100% make it easier to recover from hard efforts.
Yeah. Purely
because it just makes your running mechanics better. Whereas if you do a race in flats, you're going to be a bit more battered, aren't you? In general. So Pro 4s or Vaporfly 1s.
Cool.
Yeah.
So what's next for Ryan then? Any future goals? What we at? We're looking to improve your times, or
but the main I guess the next big goal is I think I touched on it earlier. Berlin Marathon, so that's end of September. So there's myself and a couple of other guys from Hereford doing that. Spend a long weekend there. But over the summer, I just want to get certainly for the next month, I want to do like shorter races, just get a bit of speed into the legs before I do another marathon block. So I'll do a couple of trap races, a couple of 5K races, just trying to get a bit more sort of strength and power into my running before, like I said, do the longer stuff again. Because when you do the longer stuff, you obviously get aerobically really fit, but you can lose that snap, that kind of sharpness, which. And 5K racing is a lot different to marathon racing. That's for sure. Yeah.
You mentioned obviously Berlin there, so are you chasing a PB with that, or it sounds like to me you're starting to chase six stars here?
Well, that doesn't.
Oh
No, I don't think so. No, that's unrealistic. No, I don't think so. No.
Yeah.
Berlin 100% would be a PB attempt, I think, given that I've already got a great base to work off for this block upcoming, whereas for London I was, from starting running just for Christmas to get in the shape I was for London I was very happy with.
It's amazing.
So it was a good comeback, I suppose. But yeah, with Berlin now I've already got that base in place. So it's now what can I do to continue improving? And when I've done Berlin before, and there's no course in the world that's faster than Berlin. So you've got to almost seize the opportunity or seize the moment, I suppose. If you don't go for it, Berlin, then you can't really go for it, can you? So it's like the odds are in your favour in Berlin. It's just whether you can get the training and execute it on the day.
On race day, absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
What's the time then? You going to share?
Let's have it on paper.
Yeah, sub 240.
Sub 240, and you 244 is current.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So 4 minutes is a decent amount, isn't it?
What's that for minute miling or Ks? Would you work in Ks or miles?
With its miling pace, it's like 6 minute miling basically.
It's rapid, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like 6:01, 6:02, strictly speaking, but let's just say 6. But
it's high 59 on the watch every mile, you'd be laughing.
Yeah, for that. Yeah, something like that. And then like K's, it's gonna be about 349, 350, I think, something like that.
Fair play.
So it's optimistic. I know I've got to do the work for that to get in that shape, but it's
there.
It's there. It's definitely there, but it's always an achievement. Things with marathon training, you've got to push the boundaries. It's always an achievement getting to the marathon start line. I think a lot of people forget that. So you've got to do a lot of training to get to the race itself. So you want to push hard, but not too hard, so you don't even make it to the start.
Yeah.
I'd rather almost be a bit more conservative with my training to make sure I actually make it to the start. It's I don't want to completely screw myself over 2 weeks before. It's
it's turning up fresh as well.
We
isn't
said
it?
that
Ready.
yesterday, didn't we? After finish my training block, it's there's no point doing. Like you say, you're not going to back yourself now. You want to get to race day, don't you?
Yeah.
So those last 2 weeks, and no jumping off and on curbs. Yeah.
Help, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
No, I try not to. Yeah, I try not to this time. Took me a few months when I was back running early in the year. I was really conscious of it for a while, but I think I've got that out of my head now.
That's going to happen though, isn't it? When it can create such a detriment to what you were doing.
Yeah, it's you do stuff without even thinking about it, but now you're oh God, do I jump down that curve or not? But no, the potential's there to go well in Berlin. I don't always like to chase times as such, but it's all about it's just the process of getting fitter, being accountable, to put a good training block in. If you enjoy it, the times follow. If you train hard and enjoy it, times will follow 100%. Whereas if you're not enjoying your training and you're just doing it for the sake of it, then you're not going to train well and your times aren't going to follow either.
No,
so
I would second that massively.
Yeah, so just enjoy it and it will fall into place then.
Good advice.
So that's what I would say. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Quick fires?
Quick fire round, yeah.
There we go. So quick fire answers, okay? Quick fire rounds. We've already done the one which is favourite race distance. We've obviously got that one out the bag. So there we are. Job done.
Half marathon, yeah.
10K was his favourite.
10K.
Favourite race.
Best favourite.
Favourite race distance, 10K.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Hardest session that you've secretly enjoyed?
Hardest session I've secretly enjoyed. It's going to probably be a lactate session. So probably something doing 2,400 meters or something like that. 2,400 meters.
Brutal.
Between 15 and 2,400 meters. So it feels quite easy to start with because you've got to go and you're getting rest in between. But obviously by the end you're just running on lactate by the end.
And you enjoyed that?
Do you do that at track?
That'll be on the track.
Yeah.
Something like that, or like that would be the shorter stuff, or like if you're in like say peak marathon training where you're doing something like 4 times 5k or something at like goal marathon pace. The last 5k hurts, or at least like you're being tested there. So it's always like the peak sort of sessions hurt the most. But
yeah,
I think I said earlier, that I find the training harder than the race itself, which is how it should be.
Good, absolutely.
Yeah. So
post-race beer or post-race meal? That's your choice. Beer, meal.
Okay, so the beer 100% would be a pint of Guinness. There's a couple of people that may end up listening to this would definitely agree with me in that you can have any protein shake in the world, you don't beat a pint of Guinness. And that, to be fair, could be a Guinness Zero as well for those that don't drink necessarily. So I don't know, it just seems to, again, it might just be like a placebo effect again, but it just seems to just replenish. It just seems to replenish you like straight away. As regards to a meal, I don't know. It just depends on how my stomach is feeling.
The Guinness
really.
is the meal, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it could be. Yeah,
steak and ale pie,
especially when you don't. Especially when you don't just have one pint as well. I don't know, meal. It could, the classic like McDonald's or something. That's the sort of cheap meal, isn't it? It could be like Chinese or something. It's usually something salty, isn't it?
Yeah,
really, just just not too fussy. It all just depends what you're feeling.
We'll go with Guinness and Chinese.
Guinness and Chinese, I'd say that's a fairly decent combo.
Yeah,
we'll go with that. Yeah,
cool.
All right, yeah.
Okay, and last one word to describe marathon running.
One, I would say it tests your bottle. I would say, yeah.
We'll allow it.
Yeah.
2 words. Test your bottle.
Test your bottle.
Bottle.
2 words you said then?
Yeah.
Test your bottle.
Test your bottle.
3 words,
yeah.
3.
That's bad counting by me.
Put that in the outtakes.
Yeah, or one word, just like, a real simple one word would be like, satisfying.
Satisfying.
Yeah. But yeah, in terms of summarising it up, I was like, test your bottle.
Test your bottle.
Because it does. I'd say whatever level you are, it does.
Yeah.
If you're going, like the guy that broke the world record, like, he would have known he was on for that sub 2, and in his head, he's probably thinking, there's a chance here, or, don't bottle it. Basically, there would have been those thoughts in his mind, 100%.
Yeah.
And
it's seeing them through, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the test your bottle, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
you're on track for it.
Stick to it.
Could ease off here.
Yeah, see it out. Yeah, you got to see it. It's like, like say like playing like football, rugby. Do you know what I mean? You can be winning in a game of rugby, and like it could be like say 3 points in it, really close. You could be under a lot of pressure from the team you're playing, and like you say to your group of come on lads, see it out, close it out. Getting over the line is the hardest part in any sport. I would say winning is a habit, isn't it? As is like losing. So in that situation with running, it's like you've got to if you're going on for a good time, you've got to push all the way to the line. You can't be like, start easing off in the last K or so, before you can start going backwards. Then you've got to run all the way to the line, and seeing it out and don't bottle it. So
nice.
Your bottle. Great advice, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, Ryan, I think that wraps it up.
Cool.
Thanks for coming on the podcast. I wish you all the very best with your racing.
Yeah, thank you.
Definitely some PBs there to be had. So good luck with it all.
No, I enjoyed that. Yeah, thank
cheers,
you.
Ryan. Bloody hell, Darren. There's some quick PB times there, isn't there?
He's rapid, isn't he?
Rapid, yeah.
Rapid, and he's still looking for more.
Still looking for more.
Woo. That is fast.
Yeah. Breaking down that marathon time, 6 minute mile in he wants for 240, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I challenge anybody to have a go at that. On a treadmill for 5k. It's a fast time. To do that over a 5k is a fast time. So to put it back to back over marathon distance, it's rapid.
Yeah.
Fair play.
The one thing I want to break down though is he talked about when he had his injury last September, how he had the base and the foundation, and I think that stems all the way back from.
We recording?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. You sure?
Yeah, it's moving. There's a time at the top left, look.
I know, I can see it. Sorry, yeah. He's a bad boy.
Let's start the whole thing again.
Okay.
Bloody hell, Darren, he's got some quick time, doesn't he?
Man, he is a rapid little boy, isn't he?
Yeah, he is rapid.
Fair play.
And he's still chasing for more.
Yeah, absolutely. What's he, 6 minute mile in over a marathon?
For a 2:40 he's looking for in Berlin.
That's quick.
And I think the thing is, he said this now on the podcast, so he's got to go for it. We're going to hold him to
it's
account.
on public record.
Yeah, it is. So the thing I want to break down from that is he touched on when he had his injury in September, that when he was able to get back cross-training, he still had a foundation in the base. And I think that goes back to consistency, but it goes back to his upbringing when he was at school. You know, he was very active in school, and he didn't just leave school and stop the activity. It carried on. And I think having that base and that compound effect over years and years and years, you know, he's been running for best part of 8 to 10 years, something like that. And having that foundation and had the consistency, when he got the injury, obviously it took an impact on his running fitness, but he still had a base of fitness, didn't he?
Yeah.
And it was able to, you know, they said 16 weeks, he did it 11. He was back on the bike in, I think he said about 6 weeks, wasn't he? Which is incredible, isn't it?
It is, but again, like I say, it's because it had that base in it. Now, we always take athletes, training plans, whatever, on, and they almost want that immediate payment, I suppose, of improvement, but you've got to build from the basics. You know, you build a house from the bottom, you don't build it from the top, and, you know, it is compound interest. You mentioned it there. We do small things, and we have a gradual growth over time, and that's it. You've got to respect time. As well. That's important. So that he's amazing. I reckon he's fantastic. I wish I could run that fast.
And starting from just 20-minute, like you said, there was no watch, there was no record. It was okay. It's 10 to 3 in the afternoon. I'm going to go do that loop and see what time I get back. And I think that basic starting approach is that a lot of people are like, well, how do I get started with running? Put your trainers on, just go out the door. You don't have to record it. Just go out and run, or walk, run, whatever it might be. There's no scientific or, tech or, anything that you should be able to do to just get out the door and go. And from that, then he built on that. And then he started recording his times. And then he started putting goals into it. And I think what I don't want people to think is you've got to go for these goals to begin with. It's just getting out there and moving. He talked about movement.
Yeah. Back to basics, back to building, back to base. It's those three things, isn't it? Let's start off at the basic standard principles and build from there.
Yeah.
Simple.
No, great episodes. I think a lot of people can take some good things from Ryan and his approach to bouncing back from injury, all the way through to, setting a goal. He talked quite heavily about if you don't have that goal, there's a bit less of purpose. Your training can become a bit messy, and the consistency is easier to drop at that stage. He talked about that.
Yeah. Go around in circles otherwise, can't you?
Yeah,
Headless
definitely.
chicken.
No.
Yeah.
So if you enjoyed that episode, please do like, comment and subscribe, and don't forget to share it with people around you that might have taken something from this episode. And it's really important to our growth for this podcast if you can share this episode.
And if you want to join us for coaching or training plans, you can check out our website at smartperformancecoaching.co.uk. And
we've also got our Smart Performance Club, where we host weekly runs and monthly community events as well. And let's not forget, let's be smarter than yesterday.